Hi guys, thank you for joining me on Aqua Clear Water SA for another edition. Today I'd like to talk to you about the size of your aquarium or the size of your tank that you'd like to get, or what's better and what's best. If you're new to the hobby as an aquarist, it's fine to go for a smaller tank to start off with. If you're a bit afraid of going for something too big that you think that you can't handle, but I'll explain to you a little bit about that later. But you get these small little nano tanks, and that comes with a pump, and it comes with a thermostat, and it comes with a bit of substrate, and you get the guys give you a rundown on how to set them up. It's pretty easy. But a lot of people like to buy a whole lot of little nano tanks, and do different setups, and they break it down, and then they create something different later, which I think is fantastic. It's creative, it's very nice. But I'm a one tank type of guy, and yes, I'd like to build a very big one at a later stage. I've had lots of different tanks, but I'm not into the 9-10 tanks, because I like to see some. I like the ecology of things. So I like to see the plants grow. I like to see the change of the substrate, the algae growing onto the rocks. I like to see the fish growing bigger. I like to see what's happening in this little environment that you're creating, and it gives you a sense of achievement from that. And also it teaches you a lot, the bigger, it gives you a bigger picture of what's happening. So for my advice is, I'd say don't go for a small tank, depending on your budget, of course. You can build your own tanks as well. There's lots of DIY systems out there to build your own tanks. We know glass is very expensive, but yes, you can build your own tanks. But to me, bigger is better, because it draws in a much healthier system. If you take a glass of water and you drop a droplet of ink within it, you'll see the color of, if it's pink, purple, brown, or black, or whatever. It will be, straight away you'll see it. Now you take a 25-liter drum of water and you take a droplet of ink and you put it in there, you'll hardly see the difference. And that's the same as having a big tank compared to a small tank. You can go away for a day, and it could be the middle of winter, and your thermostat gives in, and you come back to everything has died within your tank, everything, because it's such a small volume of water. But if you go away for a day and you've got a bigger volume of water, the temperature doesn't drop that quickly. It may take a couple of hours for just 1 degree to drop. And so you still got an opportunity to rectify the system, to fix it up. If there's a spike in your water for some reason, or a toxin or whatever, if you've got a bigger tank, you can drain the water, some of the water, quickly. You've got time to work. But if you've got a small little tank, it just goes to show, it's just general knowledge that the smaller volume of water is going to be affected much quicker than the larger volume of water. And I just would like to talk to you, maybe so you can understand a little bit more. I'm going to talk to you about the dry land aspect, and obviously it works the same in the aquatics. Many years ago in South Africa, with the Kruger National Park, the biologists and the ecologists got together and they said, look, we've got a problem here. Man has made a problem in Africa, because he's taken up land, he hasn't given anything back, he's fenced off everything, because this is his land, he's very territorial. We need to do something, because our animals and our nature conservation, our ecology is suffering because of that. So what they did was, they asked their neighbors, who had also very big game farms and private game farms, if they wouldn't mind taking down their fences. And obviously they came to some type of consensus. And the guys are very skeptical about this. Take down my fence. I'm going to share my animals with your animals. Your animals are going to come across my land with diseases or whatever. And obviously there was a lot of skepticism. And eventually they came to an agreement, and they got the people to understand what was happening. And they took down their fences, and it was a huge success, and it still is a huge success. But obviously our animals and our nature is still constricted because of what man has done. There's development. The animals can't come across into our cities anymore, into our neighborhoods. There's development and more development going on. There's greed, man is just greedy. And the thing is, you look at an elephant, when they migrate, they'll travel hundreds, thousands of kilometers, through different areas. But if you've got a small piece of land and you've got maybe 5 elephants on your land, they're going to ring bark your trees, and the trees are going to die. They're going to like the nice sweet leaves on top of the tree, so they're going to push over the trees. Then they've got nothing else. Then you're going to have to bring in food and feed them, which is unnatural. And so if you've got another space for them, they're going to move off into that area. And that area that they've destroyed is going to recuperate. And the same as, you look at a giraffe as well. It loves acacia bushes, acacia trees, the beautiful sweet leaves on it. If they overeat on that section, the trees actually talk to each other chemically, and they give off a horrible substance, and these giraffe will move off to another area. But if they've got no other area to go to, they don't want to go back to that bitter stuff that they're eating, because the tree hasn't recuperated yet. So the farmer has to feed them, has to give them whatever, lucerne or whatever. So if they've got another place to go to, that'll recuperate. And the same goes on with the aquatics. Exactly the same. There's no difference. If you've got something small and something goes wrong, one of your systems goes wrong, or your thermostat dies on you, and you're away for a day, and it's in the middle of winter, you're going to come back to everything is going to be dead. If you've got a larger body of water, and your thermostat dies, it's going to take hours for your temperature to go so low that everything is going to die. You've got a lot of time to work on still. You still got time. You still got an opportunity. If there's a toxin in your water or something goes wrong, you still got an opportunity to lay off some of that water and drop in some new water. There's time on your hands, guys. So to me, bigger is better, and it works on dry land and it works in the aquatics. So if you want to buy a tank, don't be scared of buying a bigger tank if you've got the budget, or making a bigger tank. Build a bigger tank or buy the bigger tank, and it actually becomes easier because it looks after itself. The smaller you go, the harder it is for that little system to work for itself. The bigger it is, the healthier it is. It works better for itself, and there's more opportunity for it to grow. So let's think about what you want to do, and how you want to go about things. If you just want to buy 6 tanks and go for it, and experiment. And obviously, if you're new to the game, you don't want to go too large, because you're obviously a little bit nervous, and you don't want your fish to die, and you want to get it right, and it's fine. Start like that if you would like to, but don't be scared to go a little bit bigger in the beginning, because, as I say, it all works in the same parameters. You're not going to lose out on anything. It works in the same parameters. So if you buy a big tank or small tank, it still works in the same parameter. It's just how much opportunity you have if something goes wrong. And the bigger, obviously, the more opportunity that tank will have to recover, to look after itself, and not to have such a drastic change. Whereas the smaller you go, obviously the quicker your tank can crash. Okay, guys, but Thanks for joining again, and if you please wouldn't mind hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe, that'll be lovely.